Again, so we'll all wave again. Hello out there in the world. I'm glad you're all here. This is the celebration event for Art United, which we've been doing for the last 6 or 7 weeks or so. I can see the button. It's happening. This is going out live. And so what we're going to do is, because you guys have been participants and you've been contributors and you've been poets, and what you've done is you fed that into me and Martin. And last week we put it through an edit process, and we are so, well, anyway, I won't go any more on that one. I'm going to go straight over to Martin. Martin, can you introduce the first podcast and kind of tell us a little bit about who you are and what your role was within the project?
Martin, you're on mute.
We had a classic moment there, Martin. You're on mute, mate. A brilliant start. What a great start.
Thank you. You know, when I went on to mute, I told myself, don't forget you're on mute, and I forgot. Yes, I don't need to introduce myself. I'm Martin, and I'm at the start of the podcast saying who I am. And we did, the first podcast is with Z and Taylor, and we did 3 workshops with Z and Taylor, and creative writing based. We did pretty much the same writing prompts with all the groups, in that we used haikus and we used 2-word poems as forms for us to stimulate our creativity. But then with most of the groups, the creativity took over and it started finding its own form. And that's what you'll hear when you hear their work. Are we ready for podcast number 1? Here we go.
Breaking through. What's new? Walls breaking, faulty logic, we're true. Start creating our freedom. Wall paint applied, banners raised, voices praised, making connections, beautiful floors, shattering doors with imperfections.
Wow, that was amazing. But that wasn't podcast number 1 for some reason. I'd loaded it up and it had moved to something else while I wasn't looking. Apologies. That was podcast that was a special little bit of, you know, what you're going to hear in a minute. All right, here we go. Yes, are you ready for podcast number 1?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Me too. Right, just bear with me because, man, it's so slick, so slick. But it's our imperfections that make us beautiful, right?
Yeah, amen.
That's the way thank you. Lord. All right. I've loved this project. I am just filling time as I say that, but honestly, it's meant the world to me, actually. I've missed you all already, and what I liked was that we managed to make Zoom seem really personal and safe, and that was really special. Right, we're ready to roll. Here we go. Hello everybody and welcome to Arts United podcast number 1. My name is Martin Dawes, aka the Poet MD, and I'm here with Dux.
Hello, I'm Dux, I'm working for Credu, and I've been working with this incredible poet, and he's been leading us on this wonderful journey with a whole load of young people.
Well, thank you. I've not been the only poet in the project, and I've not been the only incredible poet in the project. How many young people did we work with?
We worked with 9 in 3 different groups because they were all exploring their own themes, you know, kind of, and so we created these Zoom spaces that were safe spaces, and the flow that was able to co-generate was just amazing, wasn't it?
Oh, it was wonderful. So in podcast number 1, we're featuring the work of 2 of our young poets, Z and Taylor Reese.
So these are young carers who are based down in South Powys. The mum and those guys have moved into Powys recently, and they kind of came to us and wanted to talk about the fact that they feel different, they are different, and that difference has been a challenge for them, and at times they've been misunderstood. So we created a platform for them to share their story.
If you're different to one person, there's multiple people who have the same views as that one person. And these people crowd around you and try to make you the same as that one person, that unkind person, that no-love person, that jealousy person. Multiple people want to make you exactly like them. So you know better than them, on the same level as them, just like them, act like them, judge like them, be unloved like them, make you bully like them, make you hurt like them, make you hate like them. All that anger shuttling up inside of them, it's trying to get out, but they won't let it escape, lured in by the bait and trapped in their hate, lied to and betrayed by your own brethren, and then imprisoned in their web, descending down the line to your own kin, your own skin, and yet all they care about is a Facebook post, an Instagram feed, or a Pinterest pin, making noise like a beast banging on an aluminium tin. If you're different to that one person, you can't win. It's like they want you to do the crying for them. That one person you can't control, that one person within.
Yes, that was That One Person by Z Reese.
Yeah, and clearly for a young person, I mean, he's perhaps 12, you know, kind of really powerful stuff, isn't it? And it just came out. It just came out, you know. You obviously kind of gave us the kind of stimulus, but they just fed on it.
Yeah, this poem was stimulated by a poet who's a friend of the family called Leon Priestnell, and who sadly has recently passed away. We had our workshop the day after his funeral, which Z's mother had attended virtually. So we watched some of his poetry videos. Very inspiring, strong performance poet. That their legacy came through our work. It felt like they were living on in us. And it's a very, very human experience when we make ourselves vulnerable to being creative, to sharing our lived experience with honesty and integrity, as Z and Taylor do. Then it becomes very human, and we start breaking down the barriers that keep us apart.
I am the planet, I am a goddess, hair like lightning striking across the sky, eyes like the ocean, deep blue and knowing. Please me if you try. My strength, my speed, the hurricane I breathe, revolving at 1,000 miles per hour. Heart will always be my power.
Heart will always be my power. What a fantastic line. That was a really interesting session. So in that one, Z had to go off and be a young carer because Mum was poorly and was not able to, and so they went off and had to take care of a little one. So we had Taylor for their own for about 20 minutes, didn't we? And we looked at femininity, kind of the sense of power and identity within a female form.
Yeah, it was an amazing experience to work with Taylor, articulating their image of feminine power as a massive warrior goddess. So to share that journey with Taylor as Taylor develops their journey into femininity through femininity was a genuine privilege. Yeah, I'm very, very fortunate. I'm very happy to have done this work. So congratulations to the poets, congratulations to Arts Connection, and to Credu for making this project happen, and many, many thanks for everybody, and especially to my colleague Dux.
Yeah, well, it's coming back at you, mate. It was awesome, that art uniting, bringing people together to kind of share their voices. Yeah, I think we've done good. And that was the first one. We got 3 more to go.
Wow.
Well done, everyone.
Can I check in with Z and Taylor? How do you feel about that? How do you feel about hearing yourself?
It felt nice, it felt empowering, and it made me feel like warm inside.
All right. Go on.
What about you,
How about you, Taylor?
It's not zombie, but I feel inspired by myself. Inspired. Made me feel really warm inside.
Right. Can any of our other contributors give some feedback on to Z and Taylor for what they heard, how it made them feel, or a line that they thought resonates, or yeah, kind of over to you.
I'm blown away by this. It sounds like something that really experienced poets would come up with. And yet you were so young and coming up with such profound stuff. The first poem by G about everybody trying to make you like them, people trying to make you the same, it really challenges you, doesn't it? To think, it makes you think, oh, do I do that when I'm going about my daily life? Do I inadvertently, subconsciously try to make people more like me? Do we, do we really look and celebrate the difference and just enjoy people being different? And I loved her. And the heart will always be my power, from Taylor and Warrior Goddess. So, oh my goodness me, the heart will be my power. I mean, what better power can you have than for it to be the heart and to be caring? The most important power you can have. So guys, I'm speechless, I'm blown away, and I just can't articulate myself as beautifully as you can. I'm in awe and humbled.
Thanks, Jen. It looked as if Lily had some feedback.
Yeah, Z, your poem was absolutely incredible and very empowering. I think it speaks for a lot of young people these days who are trying to break from the kind of cycle of people with opinions bringing up people with their opinions and like letting people grow and be themselves. And Taylor, your poem, the power and of being feminine and like being a young female is incredible. I love that. And the hair like lightning, it seems to, you love your appearance and you believe you're a goddess, and I think that's something you should carry with you your whole life. And it made me feel like, I should think that about myself too. And I think they're both very empowering and very powerful.
Thank you, Lily. What about you, Becky, up in the corner?
Yeah, Tara works with Izzy and Tay, and she said it gave her goosebumps. And she said it's amazing how far you've come. But yeah, incredible. Really blown away. Just really, it was so powerful, and you could really hear it, especially when you were talking, Z. You could really hear the feeling behind what you were saying. So yeah, well impressed. Well,
in the e-zine, because not only is Z an incredible poet, later that night, it was quite late at night actually, I got an email from Z's mum Megan with an artwork that they just cracked on and put behind this incredible poem. So they were on a roll, and that's in the e-zine. So I'll show you that one in a bit later. Yeah, kind of. Well, you've already seen it, Z, obviously, but everyone else hasn't, and it is awesome. It's absolutely awesome. That's part of the e-zine. I'm conscious of time, so. Sally just said, Martin, when we broadcast, we could all hear it, but actually the screen was just showing your boring Apple screen. Is there any way we can share the audio without sharing screen? Is that a technical thing or not?
If you go into the advanced settings when you share your screen, it'll say audio only.
Young people know the way. Thank you, Felix.
No,
this is
I
only
stole
bonus.
it from the other meeting the other day.
So yeah, we've got 3 more podcasts to go, and they're all equally brilliant and equally different. So we're going to go for next to number 2 after Martin's, and he's a bit like me. We're not dinosaurs, but we're not digital natives, are we, mate? We're not digital natives. And you're on mute.
How many times?
As if to prove a point. It's not giving me the option, I'm afraid, for audio only. I've seen that in other places, but I've got advanced sharing options in my share tray, but I'm afraid it's not giving me audio only.
Yeah, I mean, kind of for us, it's okay. It's out on Facebook. If you watch it on Facebook, it's like, why are you watching someone's screen? But yeah, let's just do it, and we'll see. Yeah, kind of have a look on mine, because I've got all the files here as well. So should we go for number 2 in our podcast
let's
series?
do that. I'm just checking. Yeah, here we go.
Breaking through. What's new? Walls breaking, faulty logic, we're true. Start creating our freedom. Wall paint applied, banners raised, voices praised, making connections, beautiful flaws, shattering doors with imperfections. Too many died.
Hope resurrected, perfection rejected, society's ideology deflected.
The next generation of fighters now connected as they stride, some may hide as we fight nationwide. Let us collide.
Let us collide.
Let us collide. 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 Collide.
Alone with my mind, feeling the comfort of the dark, swallowed by my hate, holding my heartbeat, breaking echoes of empty light between us. I keep looking up. Why would I keep looking up? Why do I listen? Left with the dark world, my only friend, hold me tight in case me again. Within the soft breeze, I hold my empty shadow, carefree of life. I keep looking up. Why would I keep looking up? Why do I listen? Blissful memories, spotlight from the moon, shine trees, stuck watching myself. We enjoy the weight of memories encountered and slept way past noon. I keep looking up. Why would I keep looking up? Why do I listen? I am simply lost, a complicated story, and it ain't my fault. I keep looking up. Why would I keep looking up? Why do I listen? It's in my mind, my soul entwined in its last dance with a shadow. It's in my mind, my soul entwined in its last thoughts of her sweet voice.
This is podcast number 2 in the Arts United series. My name is Martin Dawes, aka the Poet MD. Next to me I've got Mr. Dux.
Hello, how you doing, guys? Out there in Zoom, well, not in Zoomland, but you've been spending plenty of time in Zoomland, and it's been incredible, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think Zoom has worked well for the creative writing in that it's given us an opportunity to have individual space as we write our own work, but also a place for us to share that and a place for us to collaborate on group pieces. So the 2 poems that you just heard are both collaborative poems that were written by the whole group, who go by the name of Freedom Talk.
So Freedom Talk came to our attention, really, through Felix. They are a young carer based down in south of Powys, and they attended our meeting, I think maybe in December, which was called Engage to Change, and that's when one of Credu's attempts to try and bring into our public forum some of the issues that carers really care about outside of their caring role. This is them in their own self as individuals. And so Felix was really articulate and spoke about the challenges of being young and exploring sexuality, especially in Powys, where it's quite narrow-minded. And so as a consequence of that event, the Engage to Change event, Arts Connection came alongside and said, well, we've got this opportunity for spring with this incredible poet Martin Dawes, and would you like to be part of it? So I snapped it. I said, yeah, absolutely. I went back to Felix and said, would you like to make this happen? They said, absolutely. And what is it? Bang, bang, bing, bong, biddy, 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 bum, bum, off you go. And it happened, didn't it?
Yeah, and I'd just like to give my thanks and respects to Felix for the leadership that they showed in putting this project together. Yeah, big thanks to you.
I was amazed at how comfortable all of the characters who came online were, you know, kind of, and how they grew in confidence. I think somehow they found in the space a safety to be able to really explore some really powerful things and experiences that they've been through. And at times he was angry, we could feel the rage. At times he was sad and poignant. But each session had its own flavour, its own kind of different set of kind of prompts and directions, and some of it was truly profound, which I'm sure you'll agree with and you'll hear in what's coming up next.
This is for those that care. This is for the child I once was, to the people who have hidden behind a mask, to those that oppose us and those that support us. We feel your fire fueling us. This is to those who hold our strings, stare in judgment, choose hate over love, to those who scream just to be heard, to the people who take our rights due to difference. This is to those we have lost. The people who fear to be true to themselves, to the ones who suffer, to the souls that walk beside us are weeping angels. For the people who fear shadows, scared of the unknown, to the people who can't see a reflection hidden behind sleeves, to the people who struggle to survive. This is for those that don't know they need it, Listen.
I keep my curtains closed, I keep my heart closed, I keep the fear closed away and hope to live another day. I keep my mind open, I keep my wounds open, I keep the open scars and hope to live another day. I hold my weapon in my hand, too afraid to take a stand against the same hand, it's driving me mad. It creeps in with the stain, keep to my thoughts like rain, cause to think I'm insane by she who refuses her name. An obsession with a fleeting euphoria to obscure that relentless dysphoria. My life in the hands of my mind, who knows which of these thoughts are mine? I don't.
Yes, you've been listening to recordings made by Freedom Talk. One of the pieces that you heard in there was inspired by Shake the Dust by Anis Mahani, the poem. And that's gave us the line, "This is for." So we had a lot of discussion in the group. There was some very articulate and passionate young people who have a great deal to say about their life experience and took the opportunity to share it very, very powerfully.
It felt fervid. They got on an absolute roll. It was just pouring out of them, and you were typing away, and kind of it was line after line after line after line that we then put through an edit process. But that stuff that came out, it was like an outpouring, wasn't it? Kind of, some of it was angry, some of it was hopeful, because he was kind of, trying to recognise that actually not everyone is a hater, and so they were trying to rejoice and celebrate some things at the same time as recognising that, there are haters out there. It was like slogans almost, wasn't it?
Yeah, it felt to me, as we were writing one poem that was 120 lines long, that we were creating 100 slogan t-shirts, and that's what we've done. Not 100, but everyone in the project has the opportunity to have their own poetry t-shirt. So that came out of the strength of these statements, the kind of statements that you want to have on a flag, the kind of statements that you want to tell the world. And it felt to me we were creating powerful non sequiturs which would sit perfectly on a badge, on a t-shirt, on a flag that we could wave to the world.
So we're definitely doing badges and t-shirts, and they will be available. So you can get in touch with Arts Connection. If you're interested in getting in touch with us, then you can visit www.artsconnection.com and find out more about the broader work of Arts Connection. And this project will be situated within the archives there. There'll also be a link on there to a thing called
flipsnack.com.
And that's going to be our place where we put the writings. And so you've heard the words of these amazing young poets. You'll be able to see and read the words of these amazing young poets. We're going to publish it on flipsnack.com, and you'll be able to access the link via Arts Connection or via Credu website very, very soon.
Cool, blimey.
Well done, well done.
Yeah, who wants to speak? I'm going to go quiet.
I was just gonna say that when we did them, it was all very emotional. But listening to especially Sam's back to recording them, and I was like, oh my god, this is like really emotional. I'm gonna cry if I can't. It was just emotional. And then I remembered everything that we did, and it was like, okay, that happened. That was good.
Yeah, that's exactly how I felt as well. When I was hearing it, I felt really emotional, and it was amazing, really, how words could make me feel so, they could make me feel such emotions that you don't really hear in sentences. That's what I like about poetry.
I think it was a big thing we kind of wanted to get across, was the idea of this doesn't want to be talked about. No one wants to address half of these. So you know what? Let's get it out and let's get it down on paper and do as best we can with what we had. And I think a big thing that came from it was inspiring the younger generation to be like, hey, look, everything can get better. And hearing it out like that was kind of a really nice moment of, actually, this did come together quite nicely.
Great performances. Well done.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd like this conversation to continue. I'm just going to see if I can share my screen and show you the magazine. Does anyone know if I just share screen, you can carry on talking? Yeah. Cool. Okay, so carry on talking and I'll share my
it really felt like a performance. It felt like I was listening to. I could see you guys on stage. I could see it was like I could see you on a Pride stage. I could see you on Pride on the stage, and I could hear people shouting and screaming and like going along with those lyrics. It was just like a real performance.
Yeah, absolutely. It was incredible. I loved the kind of echoing effects and the kind of different words that you put emphasis on that made it really profound. And I think that, yeah, on a Pride stage, just or at the front of a protest, just letting people hear what they don't want to hear, the uncomfortable conversations that people do avoid, like Sam said, just letting people know that this is what people feel, you know, and that these are emotions that are very real, even if you don't want to see that they're there. They can't just be skeletons in a closet.
Yeah, that really struck me as well, the way that so cleverly emphasise some of the words with different effects, and but the emotion that come through, but at the same time as being really strong in emotion, there's it's beautifully worded and beautifully articulated, and it sounds like an outpouring, but a brilliant outpouring, a really carefully curated but authentic at the same time outpouring. I'm really amazed by it, and I'm still processing it, and I want to listen to it all again.
Well, they will be available. These individual podcasts will be available, and hopefully we'll embed them into that e-zine that I've just shown you. As I was flicking through that, then the line that stuck out to me more than anything was, "It's dangerous to be young in this place," which I think is one of yours, Sam. And as an adult, to see that expressed, or to see that as your lived experience is, you know, kind of, it gives us even more power to say, we need to do more of this then, you know what I mean? Because it shouldn't be dangerous to be young in this place. Arthur, you're on mute over there, mate. You've been quiet so far. You're a really deep seasoned man. What did you think of that kind of podcast?
I really well, the thing that I took away from it most was like an almost like hope for like the like next stage of like people's lives, with like the whole like you know, you were clutching on to your shadow, and for one of them, and to me that was like, I'm holding on to this one part of me so that when I'm able to at some point in the future, I can just like let it go and like be free and open, and everyone will accept me for who I really am, because it's not quite, you know, not almost like ready, but like, you get what I mean? It's like you're almost ready just to be completely like free, sort of thing.
That's deep stuff, Arthur.
I think the line that really resonated with me, I teared up a little bit, was, "Why do I keep looking up?" and how angry it sounded. And it really did hit. And I don't know the context behind the line, but I kind of, well, like, I should know because of the poetry, but it kind of all just resonated so much that there was just certain lines like, "Why do I keep looking up?" made me really feel. And I think that was incredibly effective. And seeing people pour out that emotion is inspiring.
Yeah, who wrote that line? "Why do I keep looking up"? Was that you, Felix? Was it Sam? Who was it?
It was Sam, wasn't it? Oh, was it me?
No, so Felix was the one that wrote that line, because I remember we had like little individual sections, and I think it started off as the 3 impromptu, and we ended up changing it. And yeah, it was Felix's idea, and I think we all kind of ended up crying by the end of that call as well. That was an emotional moment.
Is that the one where you stayed on afterwards? Because there's one session where you all stayed in touch after the session, wasn't it? You were still out together for a while afterwards.
Yeah, that's been all of them so far. Afterwards,
Okay.
we all had
Oh, just don't tell me about it. All right. Why do I keep looking up? It could be anything, couldn't it? What am I looking for? Yeah, it's really powerful. And I tell you what was great when you sent over those recordings, Sam. I hadn't heard the edit that had been created of that piece, because there was some epic work going on. So that, from the version I had written, from the notes we took, it wasn't that. It grew in the edit big time with that repetition, particularly of that line. So I'm really happy that got picked up on, because you did a great job. Well done.
And that was a snapshot of the back of the t-shirt, of the front of a t-shirt. So that, I think, is Felix's chosen line. So everyone got to choose their own front line. No, is that Sam's? That's Sam's. That's a great line. Did you all get to see what that line was?
Can I see it again, please?
What was it? What was it? Who was noticing? I'll share it again, unless you can remember it, Sam.
Society's ideology is deflected. The next generation of fighters now connected.
God.
Come on. Oh, what a t-shirt.
I kind of had to steal Ken's line for that. I hope they don't mind that, but...
This whole thing was a co-production, so kind of I think the whole kind of sharing thing. So and in fact, the poem on the back of the t-shirt is a true collaboration, because Martin and I took lines from each of your work. I'm aware it's 8:05. It's almost Grace's bedtime. Grace, are you ready for your podcast? Right, Martin, over to you, mate.
Hello and welcome to number 3 in Arts United podcast series, celebrating the work of great young poets from the Powys area. My name is Martin Dawes, aka the Poet MD. Alongside me is Dux.
Yeah, hello, I'm still here.
Yeah, and we're loving our work. We get to work with young people, giving them opportunities to share their stories. We build culture through creativity, because when we share our stories, other people get to understand us better. When other people understand us better, we get to understand ourselves better, and we build virtuous cycles of understanding. So tonight, it is a great pleasure to share the work of a brilliant young poet by the name of Grace.
Yeah, I'll tell you a little bit about Grace. I met her years ago, and she's never stopped smiling. I don't think she's ever had a day, even though she's had encounters with adversity. So she's a non-white character in a very white world, and so there's been a struggle. And when we met her and her mum Sarah in the Zoom space, they quite, kind of openly talked about the fact that they had to go and report a hate crime that happened around Welshpool, So that was incredibly brave of them to put their head above the parapet. But what is clear from the work that Grace is showing is that, yes, she can acknowledge the fact that there's been some bad experiences, but what shines through it is just an incredible positivity, and that overcoming adversity thing kind of based it within the family. She's got a real strong sense of bond with her family, hasn't she?
Yeah, I find Grace very inspirational to work with. To see her as a young person showing strength in adversity and having the confidence to know that she has the tools that she needs to overcome the obstacles that people put in her way and let her humanity shine and flourish.
Those people, overcoming hate crime, going out by myself, looking behind me everywhere I go, looking for those people, they're not there. Just the anxiety, just the memory, feeling hurt, crying tears falling between the ears. Those people, those words still inside my head. That girl, she's 7, her childhood spoilt by those people, those racists, how they experience their life as hate, how those people sense once the hate is gone, they'll be forced to deal with their pain. Human being, a person, an individual, a personality, a friend to everyone, human being, characteristics, enjoyment, helping others to help themselves, being encouraging, giving confidence, giving love, companionship, happiness seeing you smile. Don't give up. Bullies are hard, they don't give up. It takes a lot to get through to find the pride in you. Bullies are unkind, the pain that they cause, wounds that they leave, they can't see these scars, these invisible marks. They use scissors cut sharp, barbed wire saw words, piercing sharp. You got to talk about it openly to shield your heart. Don't give up, part 2. In the end, you'll get through it. You'll stick together. You're not alone. You can be open. You can be broken. It's okay to not be okay. I have been there one day. You can talk about anything. I'll listen to what you say. Don't give up. We'll make through the day. Don't give up, part 3. Beautiful you, kind-hearted you, staying true to the kindness in the wonderful new.
Thank you, Grace. Thank you very much indeed.
Yeah, that's it really is humbling, you know, kind of someone who's so young who's had to face it and, you know, kind of overcome it, but still have Grace about her. You know, kind of Grace is the perfect name for her. If you've enjoyed listening to Grace, then you can also read Grace by visiting the Credu website or the Arts Connection website. We will be posting and publishing an e-zine, apparently, yeah?
Yes. Flipsnack.com.
And in that e-zine you'll be able to read the words and see some pictures, and also you'll be able to listen to these words again in sections.
Thanks for listening.
Grace, can you take a bow? Grace, take a bow, Grace. I'm going to do a bit more screen sharing while you guys give some feedback to the incredible Grace.
I thought that was absolutely wonderful. It's so inspiring, and I really loved it.
As someone who has not grown up in the position of a young person of colour, it's really difficult to understand what your fellow pupils go through. And I think that poem is really powerful, especially from someone so young, that we're aware it's a problem, but we sort of dismiss it because we don't experience it. And I think that's really not a good trait that a lot of white people have, that they dismiss things that doesn't affect them. And it shows that it's not just older people of color, it's not just American people of color, it's everywhere, and it needs to be fixed. We need to stop bullying and focus on the happiness of everybody, and not just the I don't know, the more privileged children, because white privilege is definitely a thing, and I personally didn't know how young it could begin, that kind of hate. And I think that I'm really I'm inspired to do more now that I know that somebody young and people that I've grown up with have faced that their entire lives, and maybe do have them scars that they don't show because they are strong. And I love that. I loved every minute of that poem.
Thank you, Lily. That was kind of really moving. Can you as a generation take over? Can we all just kind of stop doing what we're doing and you all just take over? I think the world would be a better place, wouldn't it, really? So Sean tells me that I was sharing a blank screen. I was trying to share the badges, so apologies for the black screen. That shows how hip I am. More feedback for Grace, because kind of she just deserves to hear it. Jen, how did that make you feel?
Oh, Grace, I think Lily expressed so beautifully what I was thinking in a way. That it really brought to home how somebody as wonderful as you shine out, absolute happiness and joy and loveliness, and that you could experience anything bad. It's horrifying to hear. But the way you articulated, the what I got from what you said about how that the pain can stay with you, after the event, it can stay with you, but you really focus on love and compassion and staying true to kindness, and in spite of that, and emphasizing don't give up. And it makes us think, for all of us as a society, don't give up on trying to make things better. How did you do that, Grace? I don't know, how did you do it?
I actually don't know anything else.
Are you really proud of it? Oh, it's beautiful. It's amazing.
Thank you.
Even from someone in a position like that does come from hate and things like that, it really does still open your eyes. Still, there is so much more that happens, especially as a person growing up of a different ethnicity to probably a good percentage around you. It kind of hits you like a brick wall with that sense of it can happen to anyone, and it's that thing of maybe the world really does need to start really opening its eyes to how easily it's happening and how people are just walking away from it. Because as people are saying, Grace, you're a wonderful young person, and it's just horrific to think how it can be happening to anyone in this call. And the fact that this hate can happen to any person in this call, it kind of just really hits home with that fact of something needs to change.
Well, I think you guys are bringing about that change. So thanks for your feedback there, Sam. I'm conscious of time, so we're going to go on to our fourth podcast for the evening, and then we'll have a final kind of circle. So Martin, over to you.
Life like a funhouse mirror, seeing before you an image twisted and wrong, laughable falseness, everything either rose-tinted or bitter, longing to be indifferent, raw truth not moulded by human ego, chains of Chinese whispers, holding people a prisoner. Do I remember truth, or am I made of lies? I, wearing the nature of ego cloth, break it. Speak truth of inner peace, or is peace distortion too?
Hello and welcome to number 4 in Arts United podcast series. You've been listening to a poem written by Lily and performed by Holly. My name is Martin Dawes, aka the Poet MD. Alongside me is Dux.
Hello, I'm here, and I'm here to tell you that that's actually a little bit of a bonus track, because the Arts United project, we had the 3 on the go, but at the same time, you and I were working with these 2 incredible young adult carers, Arthur and Lily, who came to us at the end of a long week. And they were incredible sessions as well. They weren't thematically linked into what we were doing with the other groups, but we created space for them to come and hook up together. They know each other pretty well anyway. I've known them for a while, but they were honoured to meet you. And the feedback they gave me about you was humbling. I'm not going to kind of, you won't get your head out of the room if I gave you the full picture on it. But end of a long week was on a Friday, at the end of a long week, right in the middle of the heaviest part of lockdown. So during February, when things were quite dark and light was not really happening, and hopes and dreams were all a little bit kind of tattered, you know, and they came together, and wow, incredible.
Yeah, it felt very much like a meeting of peers for me, that we were all 4 poets in a Zoom meeting together, sharing our experiences, helping each other express ourselves, and sharing something very humane and very special.
Yeah, because during that time you were actually down with your mum, weren't you? And that was quite interesting for you to take on a caring role and to meet these other 2 young adult carers, you know, kind of on a different journey, but actually, you know, facing some similar challenges. And I was really moved by the work that we did with these characters, because as I say, it was not thematically the same as Arts United, but what came through was some really strong themes, and Arthur's work, which you've put into it, a mix that they're going to hear pretty soon, is pretty special, isn't it?
Yeah, very good indeed. Very impressed with these young people, their ability to articulate, their ability to analyse, their ability to express their emotions and their intelligence together as one thing through their voice. Enjoy.
One hour. Time passed. 2 words, 1 line, 1 sentence. 1 hour. Next day. Same work, 3 lines, 2 words. Work ends. Started when? Who knows? 1 hour? Passed slowly. 168. All slow. Never coming. Time passes so slowly. Sunday comes, kettle boiling, gates opening, we sit distant apart. Long week, short day. Your voice, that which is palpable, serene, empowering. You sway and jive with rhythm. The rowdy audience dance and drink while the spotlight shines. The wind blows and the chimes sing with you. You made the world brighter, his world lighter, sweeping the burdens from whence they stand, the heart of the band. Given to another, the old man sat beside him, his eyes fixed to the beauty shown on stage. Your voice, palpable, serene, empowering, a stealer of hearts and a binder of souls, whose voice brings together. Dancing with shadows, rollicking and rioting through the empty streets. Separated souls, street lamps friendly to me, guiding me back home. Walking through shadows, dim street lamps on every street, carried off my feet. Returned to nature, so never truly alone. Oh, how beautiful. When I was naive, you were aged and wizened. Now you're gone. I'm free. After the end, before the beginning, not for naught cast out from thine holy presence to those eyes who know not of the sinning. Blinded from the caustic effervescence, a being, gaunt and shrouded, casts its shadow over me. Bends my knee to your heart's desire, a gaze from neath your pinstriped chapeau. As bodies are tossed into the grim mire, a moment of weakness, a moment to strike to make an impossible request, one which unthinkable to follow through, leaving us apart, formally abreast, retired from your diplomatic corps, the apple of Eve, sweeter than before. My mind wanders, it seems to walk for miles upon miles. Why can't I journey with it so? Accompany it through placid fields and quiet roads. I lie with body unseeing, with roars and crashes around me, dormant, sleeping, waiting to wake and rejoin. Onwards and upwards I fall, away from those closest, travelling south, my journey planned.
You've been listening to number 4 in the Arts United podcast series. Thank you very much for your time and attention. I hope it has been as rewarding for you to experience as it has been for us to work in it.
Yeah, if you'd like to hear any of this again, then it's all going to be available on the Arts Connection website and on the Credu website, and we are working with the wonders of science and creating a flip book via a site called
flipslack.com,
and what we'll be able to do is send you a link into that, and you'll be able to read the words as well as hear the words, because it's all very clever and technical.
Thank you very much indeed.
See you again.
Oh, that was a bit amazing. I'm first going to ask Becky to tell Arthur what she thinks about Arthur.
God, I wrote loads, Arthur. I really loved it. I loved the timed emotions. I loved the way your imagery told a story. You kept us in the palm of your hand the whole way. I loved some lines. I loved bend my knee, my heart's desire. And I loved where your mind wandered and you could just feel that happening. It was, and the end bit was incredible. It just, the imagery that it showed, it felt like a meditation towards the end. It was like really, really special. Yeah, it was amazing. Thank you.
Thanks, Becky. That's kind of great reflections there. Arthur, now you haven't heard what Martin did to that. How do you feel about what Martin did in terms of creating the soundscape underneath it all?
I thought it was really impressive, although admittedly I don't like hearing my own voice, so I was cringing through most of it. But I really do like when the music stopped and it was the distant apart. I thought that was amazing. Yeah, it really definitely heightened some of the bits in my words, I think. Yeah.
Thanks, Arthur.
Thank you, Arthur.
Yeah, and Lily, so your words spoken by somebody else, how did that feel?
It actually, I loved the way Holly spoke. I think she really felt. I think she felt what that poem was about, and I really appreciate that. I do apologise I wasn't able to speak my own poems and the work we did, because it is a reflection on the workshops that we did, and it would have been nice to show what you guys have done for us and the emotions we were able to portray. But also hearing that scape of Arthur's words was incredible, because Arthur being my best mate, I'm happy to say, I know a lot, intimate things about what he feels and his family, but hearing it in that form, in the form of poetry, just gives me a new insight to the kind of person he is. And I think those workshops brought us closer in a way, because it was emotions we couldn't just speak to each other. Yeah, I do apologise I wasn't able to record my own, but I think having all of Arthur's works in Escape together really made that podcast. So I'm not too upset about it, because that was beautiful.
Martin,
no problem, Lily.
Martin, can I ask you to kind of reflect on that one, and then a bit on all of them, and then we'll kind of we'll have a bit of a go round and see how we're all feeling. Hopefully proud of what we've done, but yeah, kind of as our lead artist on this, can you kind of give us some reflection?
Well, it's as I said right at the start, I've been doing this for quite a while now, half of my adult life, and that's over 25 years. And these are some of my favourite memories of the work I've done, I have to say, and that's got several aspects to it. One, it's down to a testament of the character, the quality of the character of all of the participants, each and every one of you. I think the project was put together as an expressive opportunity for young people who've experienced marginalisation in some form of our society, and that's to society's shame, but to the credit of the young people, that you have found a strength of voice and a sensitivity and a humanity. The three words that I expressed for the project when Dux asked us for the three words were rewarding, because it's been really rewarding. The work has been amazing, and not just personally in terms of the engagement. I'm talking about that character, that human character that you all shared, but actually the quality of the work is really rewarding as well as an artist, to see, wow, like I had a hand in facilitating work of that quality. Is a nice thing, because it isn't about the quality of the work, but it's nice that it's so strong. It's really so strong, each and every one of you. Which relates, I think, to that position as well that you found yourselves in as well, and that you perhaps have to speak, and you found that strength, and that's made it stronger, purer than it might have been otherwise. And rewarding, inspiring. You've inspired me incredibly. Thank you. And tender. That's not often I say that about a workshop, but if we're making poetry that's tender and powerful and it's thought-provoking, well, we're doing something right. So I want to say thank you to all of you, and just keep going. Just keep going. I hope that you've got some things that you can take away with you, some good feelings, but also some techniques. Those haikus, those 2-word poems, amazing things came out of them. Some of those poems we listened to tonight were extended haikus. Like one poem was 12 haikus, but no one would have known it was a haiku. It felt so natural and flowing, but it's a really constructed poetic form. High quality work. Thank you to Arts Connection, everybody. Yeah, I loved it. Thank you ever so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Bless you, Martin. That's kind of a really kind of humbling thing to hear, that you regard this work is kind of equal to or even kind of surpassed some of the work that you've done over your 20 years. So that is everyone. That's Grace, that is Sam, that is Felix, that is Z, that's Taylor, that's Gen, that's Arthur, that's Lily. You guys created that work. Martin helped you to shape it, but it was your work. So the e-zine will be coming at some point. I wasn't able to kind of I wasn't able to show you the badges. That's my bad, but they will come at you, and also some t-shirts. And we, as soon as Arts Connection have been able to host the podcasts on the website, we'll put it onto the Credu website as well, so you'll be able to go and grab it and download it for yourself. Are you all comfortable with this event that we put out tonight, that we've created tonight, being put out into the wider world? Everyone happy with that? We're going to get a nod on that one. We've got some thumbs on that one. Brilliant. Well, let's have a go round and let's just have some final thoughts or reflections about Arts United and what you're going to take from it. What is the one thing that you're going to remember from this, perhaps, or kind of one thing that you're proud of, or one thing that you'd like to tell the world? Grace, can I ask you first, because you're up in the top corner for me?
My confidence has boosted so much. Obviously, I haven't had the greatest news with everything lately, but Martin's helped me say what I want to do openly to the world. And I had a hard time in the past, but I just want to say thank you.
Bless you, Grace. You just make me melt inside. Felix, you're up next.
I am unmuted, aren't I? Yeah. I was really shocked at everything that came out of this. Like, the sessions that we had already with like Just Our Freedom Talks group, they were already really emotional. And I was kind of expecting the same level of emotion, but then everybody took it to like the next level. And I was just trying to hold back tears for some of it. It was so emotional. And I've got a whole list of quotes and bits and bobs that I'm going to save because they were amazing.
Thank you, Felix. Well, you're amazing, and I'm going to be truthful by saying this wouldn't have happened if you hadn't have brought it to Credu's attention at the Engage to Change meeting. So everyone has got a slight nod of kind of like recognition towards you, mate, because it wouldn't have happened without you. So yeah, kind of pat yourself on the back, because we can't do it because of COVID. We'll go to Sam, because you're up above Felix in my boxes.
I think a big thing that it's helped me to kind of find hope in myself and things is it's been such an isolated place, I think, for the past year, and reaching out to people has been so hard, and it's just kind of doing this project and finding Freedom Talks with Felix and things like that. It's just kind of given a new light to hope, and I just hope it gives the same to other people, whether they be young, old, or whatever else, and they can take this message on and just kind of see there is hope still after everything that's happened. Like no one's had a great year with COVID and everything, but then also everything that's added on top of it. And I just hope that other people see that hope as well, that we've been so lucky to get from these sort of meetings and things, being able to put our hope into words and then really kind of putting them back into ourselves. And I just hope that other people can get from that and hopefully make a difference in the world, because everyone kind of can.
Cheers, Sam. That's a great message. That's a really great message, full of hope. Z and Taylor, are you there still? Your podcast was the first one on. I hope you can still remember it, because it was incredible. What are your thoughts about what you're going to take away from this?
Well, I think I've just grown a lot as a person, really, throughout the poetry sessions. Like, I've really had a chance to think and reflect on, like, problems in the world and stuff that needs to change, that other people aren't focusing on. Like, in my poem, I was talking about how people care more about the Facebook posts and Instagram feeds more than problems. A lot of people do. They care about popularity over people's mental health and physical health even. And it's really opened my eyes to the problems of the world.
Wow, that's profound stuff there, Z. Can I ask how old you are, Z? Because in the podcast I said I think you're about 12. I'm sorry if you're any older or any younger. How old are you, Z?
Well, I was 12 when I started it, but I've just recently turned 13.
So
you won't.
Okay. You're a teenager. Okay, and is Taylor still there with you?
Yep, Taylor's still here.
Taylor, what do you think about the fact that we all love your poem?
I feel proud.
You definitely should, mate. Are you going to keep on writing poetry?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. That's great to hear. Great to hear. I know Ken has put some stuff in the chat. Martin, could you read out Ken's words?
Proud of what we have achieved, and it has brought us all closer together in a safe space, building up confidence and getting our voices heard. We've dug into sensitive topics and got great rewards, got great rewards from it. Well done, everyone. And very nice to hear others' work and very inspiring. Thank you, Ken.
Yeah, thank you, Ken. Sean, this is great feedback for your reporting, isn't it? Can you give us, before I go to Arthur and Lily, you haven't heard any of this before. You hadn't. What is your sense as an artist? So tell us who you are and what do you think about it all.
I'm Sian, I'm the arts manager at Arts Connection, and this project is kind of my devising. I think I've been very tearful at moments. I think it's really sad that moving on 20 years from when I was at school, where where people are just starting to come out, that a lot of the same issues are still there. I think, you're having the same conversations I was having 20 years ago as a teenager. And I think, and part of the reason I wanted to do this project was that, how do we move forward? I hope you guys have found a way to express and maybe move forward. And I hope that when we share this work, and we are going to in various ways as we move forward, what are the next steps? What do we do next? And I think a lot of you are saying about the problems in the world. I think a lot of you are saying, how do we change hearts? How do we change minds? And how do we move forward and do that? What next?
Thank you, Sean. So yeah, wow. I'm a bit tingly, actually, a little bit tingly. We got Arthur and Lily to feedback, and then we got Becky and Jen, and then I'm going to bring Sally in. Oh, yeah, kind of, yeah. So Lily, overall feelings, what you're going to take forwards?
I mean, being in a part of young adult carers for a couple of years now, turning 18 and actually becoming a young adult with young carers, I've met so many people, and so many carers come from different backgrounds and have different opinions, but we always come together in camping trips and stuff, and that gives me hope for the kind of hope that we feel in this room today. So there's more young carers who have joined in on this project, more people here than I knew were doing anything. And I think with those camping trips and like young carers coming together as people who share a similarity and fighting for the things that we need to fight for is really important, and something I'm really proud of just the community doing. And also I would love to keep in touch with the people from Freedom Talks. I love what you put forward, the messages and the things you believe in. So if that's at all possible to keep in touch with you guys, that would be amazing, because you're just more amazing people that I've met who I think are working forward something in all of our futures that is really important.
Cheers, Lily. That's a really cool thing to say. Felix is going to give me a nod. Am I happy? Are you okay for me to share emails? Yeah, we're getting a nod on that one. Of course we are. Arthur.
Hi. Yeah, I'm really thankful for like having this opportunity, not only to meet Martin and like, you know, bring back my old awkward poetry skills that I left behind in like year 8, but also to just be a bit closer to just everyone really, and especially Lily, who I thought I knew inside and out, but evidently not quite as much as I thought. And I'll definitely be rereading and re-listening to some of the amazing poetry that I've heard here tonight.
Thank you, Arthur. Wow, yeah, I'm tearful again. Stop it, please. Jen or Becky, someone's gonna have to have the last word, and it's not going to be me. So we got a hand from Becky.
Yeah. No, I really massively enjoyed this evening and listening to you all. And it feels like the start of something, not the end. So I'm really excited to hear about how we can support you if you want us to move forward with this and to give yourself more platforms for these great voices. I can hear you sort of like doing this and then engage a change in front of like 53, 60 people. But however you want to support and bringing you together, I mean, Felix is already doing that. But if there's anything you'd like us to do as Credu, please let us know, because it really does feel I've been inspired to action again. And I just want to know what you want me to do action-wise. So just let me know. And Sean, thank you so much for bringing us to Credu, and Dux for facilitating it and getting it going. And Martin, you know, really appreciate the amazing work that you've done with these guys. So yeah, just thank you so much. And I can't wait to see it on our websites and see it to our social medias and see what next, really, because I'm really excited about that. So thanks ever so much. And I want a t-shirt. I really want a t-shirt. They're great.
Yeah, me too.
We'll sort you out a t-shirt, Becky. Definitely, you definitely deserve one.
Excellent.
And yeah, and thanks for coming, because I know you've got a big report to write. Thanks for coming, sir. And Jen, we're going to give the kind of last little bit of platform to you as our CEO, as our leader in chief. What do you make of it all?
I'm just grateful that you are the future leaders. Really a massive thank you, Sean and Arts Connection, for putting it together, and Dax and Martin for bringing this amazing creative medium to young people and making this kind of expression possible. It's blown me away, and I can't do justice to what you've done tonight. My final words won't do justice to you. But you know, I want to really thank you all, you know, all you young people who participated, really, and for expressing yourselves so deeply, and the raw emotion that has come through the poetry, and the feels really real and authentic, but at the same time it's got so much heart and so much kindness and so much hope. And it really, like Becky said, it really has stirred me. It stirred me to want to be a better person. And God, if you write poetry and stirs people to want to be better, that's amazing, isn't it? So I just think you're really young and you're already making the world a better place. So you've Felix, you brought this up in you know, in an Engage to Change event, and you know, Dex, you've made the connections with our connection and made this possibility happen, and all of you have come together and created something beautiful and inspiring, and if it's had this effect on me and it makes me want to take action, me and Becky want to take action and do better, all the other people it's going to inspire too. So you're already making the world a better place, and it just fills me with hope for the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jen. I'm gonna. I mean, how do we end this? I'm gonna suggest that we kind of all unmute and blow kisses and clap hands and make hollery noises, and then kind of say goodbye to the world. And we'll be together again at some point in a different shape and form. So can we all unmute and shout and scream? And I don't know if this is allowed on
Yes. Say no star.
Proud of everyone, really proud of everyone. Yeah.
Well done, everyone. Well done.
So I've got everyone's emails. I'll give you all an email tomorrow about t-shirts and badges and stuff. Yeah. So kind of feel proud of yourself because you've done an incredible job.
Thank you for coming, everybody.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.